Welcome, everybody. We are officially live. We're going to begin the show in just a moment. What we want to do is recognize all the people out there. Michael and Aaron will introduce ourselves regularly. Why don't you say hi to some of the folks?
NBA Top Shot, the future of collectibles, officially licensed from the NBA on blockchain. The best way to describe it is essentially trading cards. You collect these individual player moments that you can showcase on your collection and share with friends. Or you
It's like you're having some technical difficulties there, Eric.
This is the place where you can
Everything all right?
Yeah, let's see. We're getting it.
Player and especially what price. Because there's a lot of cards going for as little as $1 to fill out your collection with. And there are other cards that are going.
All right, we got rid of that.
Very good.
Hi, everyone. I see that we have Matt Garrett and Robert Alderman and Marcus Garner. Thanks so much. All of those gentlemen joined us last week, and we appreciate you guys joining us again. Laura. I always call Laura royalty because she was an NFL Survivor winner, and now her husband is leading the our contest so far after week 1. So welcome, Laura. Welcome, George, if he's listening as well, Laura's husband. Matt Garrett is also a winner. He won one of our NFL DFS contests. All right, folks. We will begin the show in just a moment officially. Robert Alderman said he did great last week with our advice. Tell us, what was the best thing that worked out for you, Robert? All right, we're about 1 minute away from starting the official program. We like to give people just a few moments to join us. We now have 23 people watching. That is awesome. 24 now. Oh, Matt is already coming with the questions. All right, Matt, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little opening of our show, giving you late breaking news, and then we will take all of your guys' questions. So hold off on the questions. You can say hello. Love it if you are on. Just use the chat and say hello. Let us know that you're on. That's the only way we know that you are on. There's Jesse. Jesse is a long-time viewer. I like Jesse. Sometimes he keeps us in check, Michael. He brings up points that we make mistakes, but he always does it in a respectful, cool way. So I appreciate it, Jesse. Todd Fox, welcome. Thanks for joining us. There's Christopher. Happy playoffs. All right. We have 27 people. So I say, let's begin the show. So what we do on this is you're seeing a little behind the scenes as we get ready here to do our opening. Of course, since this is a live show, we only get one shot at it. So let's begin the show in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to our NFL Divisional Playoff Show. On this show, we're going to be giving you advice and late-breaking news that will affect your against the spread picks, that will affect your DraftKings and FanDuel cash and GPP lineups. And we're going to go all of that coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants. Eric, we're coming to you live from the sportsbook at Aria Casino here in Las Vegas. I'm with my buddy, our special guest, Aaron Dean, who's here. We're putting our money where our mouths are.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Now, you guys really are in Vegas, which is pretty cool. So let me run down real quick some of the news, and I'll get your opinions on a couple things. Things that have happened since the last time that we had our show. QB, John Wolford, neck is officially out, so Jared Goff will be the starter. At running back, Zach Moss has officially been put on IR, so complete green light for Devin Singletary, who will be the lead back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be a game time decision. He hasn't played since week 15. He actually practiced limited on Wednesday. Then he missed Thursday and Friday. Was it a setback or was it them just getting him some rest? We don't know. It's a Sunday morning game, that Kansas City-Cleveland game. So if you're going to go with Edwards-Helaire, be wary. I personally would stay away. Aaron and Michael, do you agree on that?
Yeah, I definitely think that that's the right play, especially if Kansas City gets up early. They may end up just taking that opportunity to just bench him the rest of the way, even if he is active.
All right, so here's the deal. The very last game on the slate is New Orleans and Kansas City, and we've got running back things to think about in that game. On the Saints side, Latavius Murray quad did not practice on Wednesday and Thursday. I don't think you should be playing Latavius Murray anyway. They got a very tough Buck defense there against the run, but might make Alvin Kamara even more valuable if, in fact, he doesn't play. He'll be a game time decision. And on the other side of the ball, Ronald Jones. I know some people got burned last week because Ronald Jones did not play. He again will be a game time decision. Likely all three of the other games would already be played. What do you guys think? If we had Leonard Fournette in one of our lineups, would you stick with him? And if so, do you have a pivot play?
This is a tough one. I think because of where things currently stand, if Ronald Jones is a potential on the field, it really could affect Fournette. And I don't think going with Jones makes a whole lot of sense in any event. So if you can avoid that, I would certainly try and do so.
Yeah, New Orleans does have a very tough defense and a tough run defense. Aaron, do you agree with Michael?
Yeah, I totally agree with that assessment. Even if Ronald Jones does play, I still think Fournette is the better play. He'll probably end up hitting the goal line touches in that situation as well.
Okay. So when we get into the Q&A, we'll talk about different pivot plays. Let's talk about the wide receivers and some of the late breaking news. Sammy Watkins is out. We think this raises the stock of McCall Hardman, who's only $3,900 on DraftKings, $5,200 on FanDuel. Cooper Kupp, this is super late breaking news, has been ruled out. So I think, again, this raises the stock of Josh Reynolds, who is only $3,200 on DraftKings. And better news for Cole Beasley than Cooper Kupp. Cole Beasley has no injury designation. This is a guy in the last 7 games who's averaged 8.5 targets. And he's $4,900 on DraftKings, $5,900 on FanDuel. So that is enough of the news. This show is all about the fact that we're live, that we can talk to you guys. So let's get into the questions, but let's bring up something that my good buddy Matt Garrett has said. He said, hey, press that like button. So did Marcus Garner. Thank you. That would be awesome if you guys can smash the like button. We should have as many likes at least as the number of people that are viewing, since we got a bunch of likes even before the thing began. So Michael, Aaron, was there a question that came up that you guys already want to address?
Yeah, actually one right here towards the end that affects our lineup. We had Cooper Kupp in our DraftKings lineup that we were recommending. And Robert Adelman recommends that a swap for Marquise Brown, which I think makes sense. You can also get Cole Beasley, which you already mentioned. He's a little bit cheaper. I personally like Cole Beasley a little bit more in terms of a higher floor. I think he's going to get a fair number of targets like he has of late. So I think it's just a safer. But Brown may have a little more upside if that's what you want to go for.
Marquise Brown has just been tremendous lately, super consistent. But how much are you guys worried about Tre'Davious White as a shutdown corner for Buffalo?
That definitely is a concern. But it'll be interesting to see. I think that Baltimore will do enough to get Marquise Brown moving with motions and other things to get him outside the hash marks to get a few completions for Lamar Jackson.
But that is where Lamar Jackson does struggle, is throwing the ball towards the outside, especially pushing the ball down the field, which is what you want from Hollywood Brown, right? And so Again, I prefer Beasley for a higher floor, which is how I approach the non-GPP lineup usually.
Totally agree 100%.
Chris Quanstrom asks, hey guys, confidence about the Bills winning this week and stopping the Ravens rushing attack? Michael, I believe we both picked the Bills. Did anything change in your mind, Michael, since we recorded?
No, nothing changes my mind. The more I kind of see how others are breaking down this game, the more I like the Bills in this game. To me, the only thing that I'm concerned about is Josh Allen just, having a mental breakdown. If that doesn't happen, this is the Bills game to win. We were talking about this morning. I'll let Aaron comment a little bit. This Ravens team is young. They're probably coming off a high from this win against the Titans. Aaron, anything to add?
For sure. I mean, that being a rivalry game, a lot of times youth kind of, they've been the big bully around the block there, and their early departure in the playoffs last year and then during the regular season as well. So I venture to say that Buffalo looked really, really good this last week, arguably going against the best offensive line in all of football. And while, the Colts did take advantage of that a little bit, I think that could be more attributed to what the Colts do really, really well versus maybe not as physical offensive line with Baltimore. So I think that Bills defense will traditionally just get better this week, with that being said.
Okay, so there was a weather question there about 15 to 20 mile per hour winds in Buffalo. My opinion basically is, in general, weather doesn't matter unless it's heavy winds or heavy rain. 15 to 20, I'm not bothered about it. Are you guys?
Not in that game, but I think Aaron wants to talk a little bit about this Packer-Rams game weather. So,
yeah, I think that the big fade, there was a question earlier, who would we like to fade? I think I'd fade Jared Goff with the thumb injury. He is traditionally not done well under 45 degrees. He is not very capable quarterback. Obviously, he's a California boy, went to Berkeley, is down in Southern California, and then all of a sudden you get him up in the frozen tundra and it's a whole new beast altogether. So and that with Cooper Kupp, his favorite target is not going to be there as well. I just think that the advantage really goes to Green Bay with the weather and the better and their defense plays really well in that cold as well.
All right. Now, Jay asked.
Wait, Eric, I'm sorry. Before you answer the next question, I just want to make sure you saw the comment in here where someone was really bummed out for you and your Seattle Seahawks. I'm so sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Well, it wasn't like I was alone. 5 other teams got eliminated. But yes, it was definitely a bummer. But I watched that entire game and I agree everything that Aaron said about Goff. I think the thumb is bothering him. Taysom Hill at running back. Michael, you're the Taysom Hill fanboy of the in this group. I can't imagine starting him in DFS.
So I actually didn't even know that he was being priced as a running back right now. That's interesting. Aaron and I are both really big on Taysom Hill's upside as potentially playing a bigger role at the quarterback position for the Saints. But I think it'd be really tough for Peyton to do that just in case it affects the outcome of the game. So, Taysom Hill's upside is significant when he's behind the center. And so as a running back, I just think there's a low floor there, and that scares me a little bit. Aaron?
All right, well, let's be quicker on our answers because we're getting a lot of questions.
Okay, good.
But, let's see. Is Reynolds a free space? We just talked about Goff being concerned, but you get a huge discount with Reynolds. Is he an automatic start?
No, I think Hardman would be for my automatic start in that particular predicament with Kansas City. I think the upside there is way more with Sammy Watkins being out, and they're going to probably throw more against a weaker secondary. Reynolds kind of scares me a little bit just because, Green Bay's secondary is really, really good. They're an elite secondary as well.
Yeah, that's the best part of their defense, but I don't want to go too long. Let's go to the next question.
Yeah, I'm okay if you want to start Reynolds, but not an automatic one.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Marcus Garner gave us a whole lineup here. Mahomes, Singletary, Fournette, Tyreek Hill, Michael Thomas, Higgins, Kelsey, Hooper, Tampa Bay. That looks like that was our lineup. That looks familiar. So the last thing that we should do is criticize it. So would you make any changes to that lineup?
I'd like to look at the dollars, but it looks pretty good. The only thing that we commented on is if Ronald Jones ends up playing, Fournette value goes down.
Yeah, and the thing about that you got to watch out for. I would get Fournette out and I would make changes. It doesn't work in this lineup. I love the switch to Cole Beasley. They're the same, close to the same price on both. But of course, he's a wide receiver and Fournette's a running back, and in his lineup, he has 2 tight ends. So it wouldn't work. But if it works in your lineup, I think that's great. If you can afford other pivots from Leonard Fournette, J.K. Dobbins on FanDuel at least is just a little bit more, and Kareem Hunt on both FanDuel and DraftKings is a little bit less. All right, let's move on. Bortles will replace Goff at some point in this game, Dangerous says. You know, Dangerous reminds me of the fact that I know Dangerous, along with me, is a fan of Russell Wilson. And I just want to remind people, they should go to fantasyfootballconsultants.net/quarterfinals. Do it while we're in this live stream to vote in our poll. Especially you, Dangerous, because I think Russell Wilson could probably use some votes. I haven't seen the results yet. But it takes less than a minute to do. Again, can you type that into the chat, Michael? That's fantasyfootballconsultants.net/quarterfinals is the direct link. Chris asked, do you think Baker has anything left to have a chance against KC? Baker, I actually am confused. Do you guys know?
Baker
Mayfield. But no, who are we talking about?
Mayfield, the quarterback.
Baker.
Oh, Baker Mayfield.
Is he able to do something? I'll take this one and you guys can rip me apart for it. I really like some of the things that Baker Mayfield has done this year to make himself much more effective. He was the number 1 pick, right? And so he's trying to show that he deserved that. But he's not had to throw. He's had the best running backfield in all of NFL. And he's been able to rely on that. He will not be able to rely on that to win against Kansas City unless, of course, the center snaps the ball over Patrick Mahomes' head a couple of times during the game. So that's what I think.
No, I think you're either pulling the trailer or you're on the trailer. And Baker, for me, is on the trailer. And who's pulling that is their running back tandem. So you got to also remind yourself, too, is that Cleveland Browns have some significant injuries on the offensive line. And the Chiefs' best part of their defense is their defensive line. So that I would stay completely away from Baker Mayfield.
All right, I'm going to respond, but while I do, Michael, you put the wrong address in. It's fantasy football. You missed the word football. fantasyfootballconsultants.net/quarterfinals. So it's just football in between the word fantasy and consultants. Matt is really concerned about the cold weather games and fading players. He wants to know, would you fade Tonyan for Hooper? I'll let you guys, Aaron, I'll let you comment on that. I wouldn't. I think Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers is used to the cold. I don't think, if you liked Tonyan before, I still would play him now.
I totally 100% agree with that. I think also, too, Tonyan actually presents a few more matchup issues for the Los Angeles Rams defensively as well. So he's a big target in the middle of the field. He's, been one of the better tight ends late in the year. So I don't see that changing in this game.
Yeah, and with Jalen Ramsey probably on Devontae Adams a fair number of snaps, I think that just makes Tonyan's upside increase.
Agree.
All right. You're welcome, Daniel. Thank you for thanking us. Asparagus asks, how do you guys feel about starting Singletary when the Ravens D held Derrick Henry to 40 yards last week? So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously that was impressive, but that was partly because that's how the Titans roll, right? They have to go with Henry to be successful. Singletary is really a little bit better out of the backfield, getting some touches. He's got good hands. And also, Allen's going to open things up with the pass, which helps Singletary on the run. So I think it's a little bit of a different situation, Aaron.
Yeah, the offensive coordinator Smith is notorious for being a really stubborn play caller. And while analytics tell you sometimes that passing on first down is actually a good idea, the Titans just don't do that. So it kind of played right into what the Ravens wanted to do against the Titans.
Look, I don't know if Devin Singletary is going to have a huge game or not. You don't need him to have a huge game. He's 4,500 on DraftKings. He's 5,700 on FanDuel. Super cheap. He's going to be the lead back in a game that we expect Buffalo to score a lot. He will catch passes in addition to running out of the backfield. I think Singletary I'm more comfortable with Singletary than any other running back on the slate, given his price. But
Matt Garrett asks about Higgins versus Hardman. Aaron, you've already touched on this. You want to talk a little bit more about why you like Hardman so much more?
I just like Hardman more in a sense that Cleveland Browns secondary is so bad. There's going to be a lot more opportunity now that Sammy Watkins, which is usually a fairly significant portion of their play call design. Sammy Watkins usually targets anywhere from 4 to 6, maybe sometimes upper end 7 or 8 targets in a game. So I just have a feeling that Hardman, while he may not have as many of the targets that nature, I still think 5 good targets with 3 potential 70+ yard touchdowns. It could be there.
I agree with the upside. Just real quick, I think I'd add that, if this game does get out of hand early, which it could, then you could see Higgins getting a lot of kind of, towards the end of the game balls, which could help his floor. So maybe Higgins a better floor, Hardman a better upside.
For sure.
All right, who do we each see in the Super Bowl this year? I'll go. I'll let you guys start off first. I want to hear both of you.
Unfortunately, none of us, because they're not probably going to let fans. No, it's in Miami, so maybe they will let some fans. So that'd be great. But gosh, it's really hard to go away from Kansas City versus the Packers in the Super Bowl. I think that's where it's likely to head. But if anybody's going to sneak in there for me, it's Buffalo's the dark horse. Aaron?
Yeah, week 17, I put $100 down on Buffalo, getting 8-1 odds. So at the end of the day, that's who I'm rooting for. But I really feel that it comes down to Buffalo, KC. One quick thing to point out with Buffalo's loss to KC, you got to remember the week before when they also lost, they had no idea if they were playing the Titans or not. They didn't know until 36 hours prior to playing the Titans. And then they play the Titans. And then, oh, by the way, Monday, less than 4 days later, they're playing the, reigning Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, on the road. And it just didn't go well. But, I think you can totally explain away both of those losses.
All right. We've got 50 people watching. So this is awesome. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. And don't be shy. We want to hear from everyone, even just to say hello, or if you have a question or a comment that you'd like us to comment on. Marcus Garner.
Real quick, Eric, we didn't hear from you. And before you comment on that last question, I think we'd love to see the viewers respond as well. This is a great question. Who do you guys see in the Super Bowl? I like that question, Chris. But Eric, who do you see in the Super Bowl?
You just stole my thunder, Michael. You took exactly what I was going to say. I don't know how the most likely, I certainly think, is Green Bay and Kansas City. The bye is huge. I always think the bye is huge in that first round, and I actually do think those are the 2 best teams. But despite being disappointed that I thought they could have played a lot better against the Colts, I think Buffalo is playing better ball than anybody in football right now, at least going into the playoffs. So I would have picked them as my dark horse team. Either way, I think we're going to have a great Super Bowl if you like offense, because I think it's going to be one of those 3 teams are the Saints.
So we got Marcus Gardner asking if we think the Saints will beat Tampa tomorrow and if they can make it to the Super Bowl. Eric?
Well, yes, they can beat Tampa. Not only do I think they'll beat Tampa, I think that they will beat the spread. They're the better team, and they've proven it twice in convincing fashion this year. People, I think, forget how good their defense is and how much it hurt not to have a healthy Michael Thomas, and now he's back. Can they make the Super Bowl? Yes, but I wouldn't bet on it.
One thing to add there, we were listening to a podcast about Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. I've been really impressed with how Tom Brady and Bruce Arians have finally played nice and figured out how to work together. And it looks like maybe Brady has a little bit more say than he did early on. But Bruce Arians is not Bill Belichick. And, this game is a game, we were talking, I'll let Aaron comment more, but this is a game where Brady's going to need Belichick more than perhaps he has all season long, and he's not going to have him. And so.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the other side, the Saints have an elite coach, an elite play caller in Sean Payton. And that's, if anything, it will be very interesting to see if Tom Brady kind of takes his reins on the offense a little bit more, maybe makes a few more adjustments at the line of scrimmage to fit what he wants to do. But I think this game, more than any game all season, I think Tom Brady is going to miss Bill Belichick today.
All right, we'll go faster,
Sunday.
Eric. We see that we're a little behind on questions. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, okay. So Asparagus says he likes the Bills and Packers. With all the focus, Chris Lopez says, with all the focus on Cam Akers, will he produce a game similar to Henry last week?
What do you think?
Well, that's not a fair comparison in the sense that you're getting Cam Akers for such a lower price, and I love his involvement in the game. And if the Rams get behind, it's not like he's going to leave the game.
I'll say I think there's some potential upside. You might see a few more screens run to Cam Akers. He's a very good pass catcher, and that might help slow down a little bit of Kenny Clark and the gang on the defensive line.
Yeah, different game, right? I mean, Henry was going up against Baltimore, and Akers going up against Packers.
Matt Garrett asks, Hunt or Singletary? One-word answer. I'll go Singletary.
I go Hunt. I like Hunt, in the passing game. Eric.
Break the tie, Aaron. Make it good though. Come on now.
All right. I'll go with you, Eric. I like the sole running back. If you can give me one running back I know that's going to consistently get the ball, whether it's catching or running, to me that makes more sense.
And he's cheaper.
That's nice cheaper. Yeah.
All right, we got another one-word answer here. KCR Green Bay. We've all said they're the Super Bowl. Who is going to win?
Well, I think he was just saying that's who's going to be in it. But AFC
I'll ask it anyway.
Wins the Super Bowl.
Anyone in the AFC wins the Super Bowl, hands down.
As a Seahawks fan, I object. But so yeah, okay, I'll go with KC and agree anyway. I like who wins the Baltimore Buffalo game. All right. What's the best defense? I think they're asking DFS. So given their price, who do you guys like on the defense? I know, Aaron, who you like. Tell us.
I like the Rams defense, and the reason why I like the Rams defense is that they get after the quarterback a lot. Aaron Donald is, for the most part, healthy, and I'm sure he'll probably get shot somewhere along the line to where he's not going to feel his ribs. So that will not be an issue for that big man. So if you can get after the quarterback, and obviously Aaron Rodgers is still fairly fleet of foot, it might throw things, the timing and different things of that nature. Who knows? You might get a surprise turnover or two from the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and one of the things, I'll agree with you, Aaron, since you agreed with me earlier. So I will. I like the Rams, and all the reasons you said, but also they're cheap. They're one of the cheapest defenses, and defenses always have the most volatility. So as long as I'm comfortable with the defense, I like to pay down. Your comment, Michael?
No, I'll agree. I'll agree with that. And, defense is something I don't like to pay up for in any event, just because you're really relying on that touchdown that nobody can predict. Richard Sanchez asked us Lazard versus Scantling in terms of the Packers' alternative receiver to Devontae Adams. That's a good question. I really like Lazard. I know that Aaron Rodgers has tried to kind of prop him up, but Scantling's the one that's had the bigger games historically. Personally, I wouldn't go with either. Aaron?
Yeah, the back end of the Rams secondary, I think, is where they're most susceptible. So with that being said, Scantling might get you a few over the top, but then again, how realistic is that going to be with Goff's thumb injury? So, in really, really cold, freezing conditions. So I think you kind of go with the play with, it's Aaron Rodgers. I like that deep threat. So there is a little bit higher ceiling there, but your PPR, it's probably Lazard.
So you guys answered the question great, but my answer was A or B. My answer is C. On DraftKings, Lazard's 3,900 and Valdez-Scatling's 3,800. You know who's 3,900? McCall Hardman. Now, you might say, I already have McCall Hardman in my lineup. And if you do, then that's fine. But if you don't, I like McCall Hardman better than both of them.
Same.
Do you guys agree?
Agreed. Eric, Robert Adelman asked us, Antonio Brown or Mark Andrews, what do you think for flex?
Let's see. I got to think about that one here. Antonio Brown or Andrews. I'm going to flip that over to the resident expert, Aaron, on that one.
I think Antonio Brown has some really good upside there. I feel like if anything, Tom Brady and I think Antonio Brown is a resident in Tom Brady's home. So that chemistry is there. When all else breaks down, a quarterback goes with what he knows best. And we all know the work ethic of Antonio Brown. It's always been a character issue, but it's never been an issue about work ethic. So I think those guys have been putting in the time. You might see that chemistry pay off today with Antonio Brown.
I like that. I just will say real quickly that Mike Evans, although he's healthy, has always had trouble with Marshawn Lattimore. So I think that I like Godwin and Brown more than normal. Gronk R. Hooper is the next question. I feel like, what do you want? If you want a floor, absolutely Austin Hooper. I think if you want a ceiling, maybe Austin Hooper as well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, Hooper, I don't think there's a big question there. Gronk's not been the pass catcher that he's been in the past, so he unfortunately hasn't produced like people would want him to. So Hooper's the guy.
Yep. Njoku, David Njoku might be out as well today, I think, as well. So it's a double dip for me. Or tomorrow. Yep, that's something to hang on to.
All right, so it's in a Survivor, 40 of 3,000 people. They burned the Saints already, so they have to pick one team that goes throughout the playoffs in the Super Bowl. Do they burn the Packers this week, Kansas City, or the Bills? That's an interesting call there.
I think you keep the Packers if you can. Man, first let me say congratulations to Chris making it as far as he has in his pool. But I think save the Packers. I think they're the safer bet next week because the KC is probably playing against the Bills. So I'd burn the Bills this week and then decide next week versus KC and Packers. Aaron?
I kind of like getting there, and the only way to get there is by getting the win. And I think for me, the bet of the week for me, and one that I felt like was the most confident I feel like putting my own money on, is Green Bay to win this week. So there's a little bit more unpredictability with the AFC just because the quality of the teams in the AFC that are still left are just light years ahead, I think, of the NFC. But really, the clear leader in the NFC to me is Green Bay.
If you really have Packers, KC, and Bills left, man, I would go this week, with the Bills, next week Packers, and then KC in the Super Bowl, and you're the champ.
Oh, that's a good way. There you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say yes. That after this week, it's very possible that we'll only have 4 teams left. Those 3 teams and the Saints, and you've already picked the Saints. So. All right, Asparagus says, I'm taking Dobbins over Akers and cash. I feel like the Rams fall behind early. Akers won't see much production. Okay. Garrett says, how would you rank Tampa Bay's wide receiver for total points today? Evans, Godwin?
Godwin, yeah. And you touched on this, Eric, so I think you can hit it.
And Antonio Brown. I'll go Godwin, Brown, Evans. How about you guys?
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Go on.
Did Michael just do a backflip back into the screen? I don't know. Only use
working on that.
Chris Quanstrom says only can use one team once and they need to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I think I like what Michael said. Marcus Garner, Higgins or Hardman on FanDuel? Oh, that's tough. I'd love to know, Marcus. Are you talking about cash or GPP? GPP, absolutely Hardman. Absolutely Hardman, in my opinion. I think it's a little tougher for cash. What are your guys' thoughts?
I agree. Yeah, no, I think if you're in cash, go Higgins. He's got a higher floor, but Hardman has the more upside.
Agree.
Tori J says, with all these tight ends on the slate, where do you turn to? On DK, will 2 tight ends be okay? Well, that rhymes. Well, look, if you can afford Travis Kelce, who is not only the best tight end in the slate, the best tight end in this year, and one of the best tight ends ever, playing against a horrible Cleveland Brown defense against tight ends, you can't go wrong there. But what do you guys think if you want to go cheaper? What are some of your favorites?
I agree. In my own personal lineup, I have Kelce and Hooper in there. I think you just have to have Kelce as a tight end, and you work your way around it if you really want to the automatic, 17, 18 plus points in the game. Your other cheaper one, there might be a play here with
Andrews,
Cleveland.
You have Andrews.
You got Andrews, but the play maybe sneaky would be Harrison Bryant. If you have
to save money.
If you have to save money because Njoku's going to be out, and Baker Mayfield has developed a little bit of a chemistry with the rookie, so that might be a sneaky play.
I don't want to dwell on this question, but I do think that tight ends do produce a little bit more when it comes to clutch period. But tight ends they're not getting a lot of PPR points for it typically unless they hit the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Except Kelce, of course.
Yeah, we're now normally I don't like to do 2 tight ends, but we're now in a very condensed slate. So I'm not against it. I don't think you need to force 2 tight ends in, but if that's the way it works out and you like both of them, I'm okay with that.
So Eric, we got Jack Lewis asking for cash, which receiver, Hardman, Scantling, or Higgins? What do you think, Aaron? Or Eric? Put to Eric.
It's McCall. I like McCall Hardman this week. I think Tampa Bay is going to put a ton of points on, and I know a lot's going to go to Hill and Hardman. Hill and Kelce, but Hardman's going to get a lot more looks with Watkins out.
Eric, Richard's asking if we changed our DraftKings lineup.
Yeah. So once again, you have to ask yourself where. So for cash, let's be clear. The person that you have to get out of the lineup is Cooper Kupp. He's 5,300. You have a variety of different ways. I think the consensus on our panel is we would pivot to Cole Beasley. So our cash lineup is Josh Allen, Cam Akers, and Devin Singletary. The wide receivers are Tyreek Hill, Jarvis Landry, and Cooper Kupp. The tight end is Robert Tonyan. The flex player is Michael Thomas, and the defense is the LA Rams. You do have $400 to play with. So if you want to upgrade your defense or any of the other players, that's perfectly fine. I'll let you guys take a look. Would you upgrade the defense? I'll let you think about it. I'll come back to you. Would you upgrade the defense on DraftKings if you had $400 from the LA Rams? Let's see. Where are we?
The next one on here is from Matt Garrett. What do we think who has more upside for receptions and tight ends, Hooper or Higgins? I think we've kind of already answered that one. I think we think it's Hooper, especially for touchdowns. Do you agree with that, Eric?
Yeah, I do. It's close. It's a close call, but I do. Just look at what Austin Hooper has done in like the last 6 or 7 games. He's been super consistent. They relied on him. Game script wise, I believe the Browns will be behind in this game and they will be throwing a lot. Okay, so did you guys have a chance to take a look at the DraftKings slate? I can tell you. So the Rams are on DraftKings is 2,600. If you have $400 available, the only defense you can go up to would be the Ravens and the Bills. Would you switch out if you had the money to pick the Ravens or the Bills defense instead of the Rams for cash games.
Yeah, I know that Lamar Jackson can turn the ball over. The only one that's tempting there is the Bills to me. And that could potentially turn into a touchdown, which obviously changes the game. But I think that the Rams have a higher floor. Aaron?
I agree.
Okay, so they also asked about our FanDuel lineup. I know you guys weren't involved with it, but I think
we'll just relax while you take
you
this.
just kick back. So there's no change to the cash lineup. That's Lamar Jackson, Cam Akers. Just listen to these wonderful names, guys. You got to love this. Lamar Jackson, Cam Akers, Devin Singletary, Jarvis Landry, Robert Woods, who I think is even more attractive with Cooper Kupp being out. Marquise Brown, Travis Kelce at tight end, Michael Thomas in the flex, and the Tampa Bay defense. So the one thing on that one, and I will need to double check. Let me check something. Can you guys respond to the next question?
Can do. Let's see. He's improving the phrasing of his question. Matt is going to the running back as to back a Cleveland player, looking at Hooper or Higgins. Okay, they are near the same in salary for flex. Which will score better, receiving yards and receptions yards?
Can you put, Matt, whether this is GPP or cash for us? And while we're waiting for that, I want to ask you guys for some help. What defense do you like more? On FanDuel, which is the price, the scoring on FanDuel is the exact same for DraftKings. Would you rather have the Tampa Bay Buck defense or the Baltimore Raven defense? Baltimore is going up against Buffalo, and Tampa Bay is facing New Orleans.
Okay. My bet would be that Tampa Bay might end up getting a few more sacks than Baltimore would be with Josh Allen. So again, my preference in playing fantasy football is about sacks. Go get your sacks, and usually that creates a little chaos.
All right, so we're going to stick with Tampa Bay in our cash lineup, but you guys, if you want to pivot to Baltimore, that's perfectly fine. So there is our answer. Just to wrap up FanDuel, the one thing that I am suggesting people question on our FanDuel, our FanDuel GPP lineup is we have Leonard Fournette. So if you want to pivot on FanDuel, J.K. Dobbins is only $200 more. Our Kareem Hunt is $100 less. So we would have to pivot to Kareem Hunt in our GPP lineup because we don't have the $200. All right.
Eric, Matt clarified that it's GPP for this question of Higgins versus Hooper. So what do you think?
All right, we're going to take votes. First of all, I think it is very close. And so I don't have a problem either way that you go. GPP, I just feel like Higgins has a little bit more upside. So I'm going to say Higgins. But it's close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Hooper getting 2 touchdowns, so maybe Higgins has a little more upside. And I think that's fair because he could get that long pass, and Hooper's not going to break a tackle and go 25, 30 yards more downfield likely.
Yeah, I just think the safe play, if you wanted to play it safe, it would be Hooper. But
for GPP, maybe you go
exactly.
Mm-hmm. And if you feel like you want to play it safe in this position, you have enough other players you think have a high upside, that's fine. Let's move on. Krishna says, any thoughts
for you, Eric? Good luck with it.
What? What are you saying?
Krishna's questions for you.
Any thoughts about Yeldon or Darrell Williams in the lineup to save money and high ceiling wide receivers? I prefer not. If you want to save money, use Josh Reynolds and McCole Hardman. Those are the guys that I like to really save money. I think Devin Singletary already saves a decent amount of money at running back. I don't think you need to do the stretches with what Yeldon or Williams. Aaron Jones or Michael Thomas at the flex?
I'll take this one. So if it's a PPR, if it's the DraftKings, I think I'd go Thomas just because he's obviously going to get more targets. But if it's FanDuel, I'm torn. I'm not sure. I could go either way and be happy either way.
Agree.
I won't caveat it. Michael Thomas. Matt has 2 sacks. All right. Matt Garrett, prediction of the number of TD passes for Mahomes. All right, let's put them up our fingers. Wait a minute. You did it early. Wow, 4. I thought I was going out on a limb with 3 TD passes. Okay.
Maybe one on the ground too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going. Okay. Riken asks, what betting picks? I'm not sure I understand.
But I think he's asking if you're going with against the spread or with the spread. Who are we picking? Who's Aaron putting all his money on this weekend here in Vegas? That's what.
They can watch our show for all of our picks. But what pick are you most confident in based on the spread? Quick reminder: Green Bay 7.5-point favorites over the Rams. Buffalo 2.5 over Baltimore. Kansas City 10.5 over Cleveland. And New Orleans 3.5 over Tampa Bay. Which of those 4 games are you most confident in, and what team would you pick?
Well, I'll tell you, the lines have actually changed on some of those here in Vegas. But for CBS Sportsline, which is what I know we have to go with, a couple of those spreads are kind of in an uncomfortable spot. But Aaron, I think you've been saying Green Bay, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all the way around the line. You might still see it at 7, but now it's definitely at 6.5. A lot of money has come in on the Rams. So for me, I think that is my lock of the week is Green Bay by winning comfortably 7 to 10 points.
I'm not as confident in that number. And, that 7.5 scares me. I like the 6.5 a lot better. If I have to pick from all those games, I think it's the Buffalo Bills spread I like the best.
Mine is New Orleans. Only I have to give up 3.5 points here. They've beaten them badly 2 games in a row. I feel comfortable with that, with the 3.5 point spread, which probably means everybody bet on the Bucs.
Wait, there's a question that just came in for you, Eric, from Chris Quanstrom.
He said don't answer.
Wilson is doing this week.
Same thing my Raiders sitting at home watching football.
This is what Russell Wilson is doing. He is going around to every one of our FFC community people and saying, please vote for me in the NFL player pool, because at fantasyfootballconsultants.net/quarterfinals, he's going up against Aaron Rodgers. I know Dange Russ once left a YouTube comment that said, Russell Wilson greater than Aaron Rodgers. So I hope Dange Russ has voted. Anyway, let's move on. What do you think of Gronk can actually do this weekend? Well, what I want to do with Gronk is watch him, but not bet on him. So there's a lot of, he can do absolutely nothing, or he can score 2 TDs.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really followed what the Saints do against tight ends, but Gronk has just not really been that much of a fantasy scorer this year. So
there's just so many weapons on that team.
They do, and I guess when you look at the Saints defense, I look back at early in the year with the Raiders and Darren Waller, arguably a top 3 tight end in the NFL. He did have his way with the safeties, but I think that was more or less created because he is such a very, he's a huge weapon. He's got a tremendous amount of speed for his size. Gronk does not have anywhere near that speed. He does have size and bulk, but I think the safeties and Alexander, or the middle linebacker there for the Saints will be able to keep Gronk in fairly decent check, I think.
All right. Chris can't believe that Buffalo, they should get points. He thinks Baltimore is going to win. Matt Garrett, who's leading everybody in questions today, getting your money's worth. Way to go, Matt. Who could be the slate breaker this weekend? Who is the guy that all winning lineups are going to have? in there. I'll help you guys out. It'll be a Chief. I guarantee you that. It'll be a Kansas City Chief. So pick between Hill, Chelsea, or Mahomes.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty fair with that Cleveland defense. Unless it gets it out of hand enough to where they pack it in, I think it's going to be a Chief. I agree with that.
100%.
Well, I already said that. Which Chief?
I'll go with Kelsey.
Yeah, that's a for sure. Kelsey, he's just so automatic. Seven catches for nearly 100 yards and at least one score.
All right. Just to be different, I'll say Tyreek Hill. Thanks, Dane Russ, for making sure that you voted. Did the Browns, can they pull off the upset?
No.
Well, can they? Well, yeah, they're a professional NFL team, and anybody can upset anybody. But let's do it this way. What % chance do you guys give the Browns to win this game?
One hand.
5%. I'm 0.1%.
Wow. You guys.
I'm 99.9% sure the Chiefs are going to win the game. They may not cover 9.5 points, but they're 99.1% sure they're going to win the game.
I mean, let's just go back to last year, right? When they were down big to the Texans, right?
24.
And everybody thought that, they were done for, and they reminded themselves why they were the best team in the NFL. And they're the best team in the NFL right now as well. Maybe not to your standard, like you say, Buffalo's maybe playing the best football, but Kansas City's the best all-around team.
You guys are crazy. So I was trying to tee this guy up.
So crazy someplace else. We're all stuck up here.
No. Kansas City. Look, Kansas City's going to win, but I'll give them the Browns at least a 10% chance to win. They run this
NFL.
They run this game 10 times, 9 times the Chiefs win, and I have the Browns as with 10.5 points spread. Okay, we got to catch up on some of these comments. Okay, I like Daniel. What do you think of Daniel's comment? Stack Mahomes and Hardman, Kelsey and Hill. Yeah, I don't know if you want to stack all 3 of those guys, but definitely 2 of those 3.
Yeah, for GPP, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Any takers on Lev Bell? Not me. I'm not raising my hand.
No.
All right. Chris says 30% for the Browns. That's a little too far.
I think it's good to remember that the any given Sunday rule from the NFL does not apply in the playoffs.
Let me give a comment to Chris.
So crazy someplace else. Stuck up here.
All right. Does Jalen Ramsey lock down Devontae Adams? I don't think anybody locked down Devontae Adams, but will he slow him down?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, while Devontae Adams is clearly, in my opinion, better than DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey is a special talent. The difference, I think, is that Devontae Adams lines up in the slot a fair amount, and Jalen Ramsey is going to stay at the corner position.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey does not travel in their defense, so there's going to be ways for Matt LaFleur to get Devontae Adams his matchups. He's not going to go, 3 for 30 like DK Metcalf. I mean, he'll get his touches. Whether he has a big yardage day, I'm not sure. But when he's with Jalen Ramsey, I guarantee you Aaron Rodgers will probably go to Tanyan or one of the other wideouts.
And he finds ways to get the ball to Adams, whether they hand it off to him, do a short screen. They will get the ball in Adams' hand. All right, the Rams pull off the upset. Here we go again. Well, I think it's a higher likelihood that the Rams upset than the Browns, but I am picking Green Bay with even giving up the points. So
we're moving along here. Sorry about the background.
Unlikely. All right, let's move on. Pay no attention to the guy in the left-hand side. You guys are swaying me on Hardman now. Would you sub him for Marquise Brown, Antonio Brown, or Michael Thomas and upgrade elsewhere? I love Michael Thomas, so I'm not taking Michael Thomas out of my lineup. No way. But I have no problem with taking him out for either of the three Browns on the slate: John Brown, Antonio Brown, or Marquise Brown, and upgrade elsewhere.
I would agree with that, although I like Antonio Brown a little bit more than Hardman. Yeah.
Okay, and let's find out how much you like Antonio Brown. Robert Alderman says Antonio Brown or Jarvis Landry, DraftKings GPP.
I think you got to go Jarvis Landry. Right? Not only does he have a higher floor, I think that the Cleveland's going to be throwing the ball a lot in this game, and Jarvis Landry is clearly the guy for them.
All right. You know what I find amazing is we are continuing to have more people join us here, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much. 60 people watching. If you haven't yet, smash that like button. I can't imagine it's the case, but if anybody is not a subscriber, please click the subscribe button. Really helps us out. Back to the comments. Marcus Garner says if the Browns run the ball like they did against the Steelers, they may have at least a 15 to 20% chance. So another person sort of agreeing with me. I like it. Chris Quanstrom, taking a break from giving me a hard time. I'm from Chicago, which would be so lucky to get Mitch T from us.
I think he's saying who would be. He's trying to get rid of Mitch.
I think the Bears would like to get rid of Mitch too.
They tried. They paid a lot of money for Nick Foles, and then they went back to Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
So we are at 11:57. So we are going to wrap up here. So if you have any final questions, go ahead and chat them in. Any final comments, Michael and Aaron, that you want to say? I will just say a big thank you to all of our community. We appreciate you guys so much, and we love it that you guys like this format. I saw a comment said you should do that. You should do this every week. Well, we won't be able to do it every week, but I think we're going to do it more often next year than we ever did this year, because it allows us to really connect with you guys, which we really appreciate. We know that we're getting to the end of the season, and I think our viewership and a lot of the viewership of the football channels are going down. But hang with us for the last couple of weeks. We got we're still going to be doing spread picks. We're still going to be doing the NFL Player Tournament pool, which I, again, please ask. Go to fantasyfootballconsultants.net/quarterfinals and fill out that poll for who you think the best player is, assuming everybody is in their prime. Final comments, Michael.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to go ahead and answer Bernard's question about Hill versus Adams. I'd go with Hill, but I want to thank everybody. This has been a lot of fun, and it's because of you viewers and how much you guys are participating. This really makes it fun for us.
For sure. And I just want to remind everybody out there that I beat Michael 2 out of 3 times in our fantasy football league this year. And the best one was in the semifinals. So thanks. I got the best of this guy.
So a couple of final questions before we wrap up. Debashis, if I'm pronouncing the name right, says, is the weather a big factor in the Rams game? Aaron talked about it a little earlier. We were worried about Goff before, but maybe even more worried with the cold weather.
Very much so.
Thank you, Marcus, saying he appreciates the information and guys are helpful. Thank you, Matt, that says it's been a great year. We need to do this all year. It's been wonderful and entertaining. I just would like to say, if you do like our channel, the one way that you can support us is nothing to do with money. You can support us by just letting family members or people you play in your sports league know about our channel and have them subscribe. It would be really awesome if we got to 8,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and you guys can help us. Remember, we want to get to that 10,000 sometime soon so we can start sporting our merch. Shout out to Michael Wiley, who is now sporting his FFC fantasy football gear, and we want to make it available. We're not interested in making a profit on it, so we're going to make it as low a price as we can to all of you guys. We are at 12 o'clock. I would like to let everybody know to enjoy your football this week. We got 4 awesome games. We want you to be safe, Take care, and we will see you next week with a spread show and a NFL player tournament show. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Phone.